Hi everyone, I'm Vince and you're watching AI for Everyone. Today we're going to see if ChatGPT can help us, me and maybe you, start a garden where we live. So this is the channel where we make AI simple and practical for everyday use. So let's get right into it, ask it some questions and see if it can help us to get a garden started. Okay, here we are. We've got the computer screen going. We've got ChatGPT up. And we're just going to start with our very first question. For me, I'm in South Carolina, so I'm going to ask, what vegetables can I plant in South Carolina? Let's see what ChatGPT tells me. Because I don't know a lot about gardening and I want to get going. So you'll notice it gives me some questions here. South Carolina spans some different zones, 7A to 9A. And it's asking me what zone I'm in. And I can update it, Greenville, Spartanburg, Columbia, Sumter, or the Low Country. Now, I don't have to update it. Just giving me the time of year, mid-March through late November, gives me some planting. It says, these are cool season crops. Get them in the ground before the heat kicks in. Great choices for South Carolina spring gardens. Lettuce, it tells me why it loves the cool weather. Try romaine or butterhead. Spinach, plant early and harvest quick. Bolts fast in the heat. That's carrots, direct sow, but thin them out or they get funky. Peas, sugar snap or snow peas do well in the cooler months. Radishes, super fast. Kale, collards. And now it breaks it down for summer planting. We're shifting gears to the warm season powerhouses here. These love heat and sunlight. So tomatoes, of course I want tomatoes. So we got cherry, Roma types do great. Peppers, bell, jalapeno, banana. I like all of those. Not big on eggplant or okra. Sweet corn, but I don't want big corn things. Green beans I might do. Bush and pole types both do well. And melons, it's telling me in South Carolina I can do cantaloupe and watermelon. They're great. And I like sweet potatoes. And then it gives me some things I can do in the fall planting. South Carolina's middle fall, mild falls, I mean you can plant a second round of some of the same things. Broccoli, cabbage, carrots, kale, lettuce. I can get a second round in because of where I live. So just right here we've got some very useful information in telling me the times of year to plant things, what I can plant in spring, in the summer, and even for me in South Carolina in the fall. And then it gives me some pro tips for success for South Carolina gardens. Soil prep is crucial. Mulch is like a maniac. Water smart. Keep an eye on pests. Know your timing. So it gives me this information and this gets me an idea. Now I don't have to plant all of those. I can pick and choose and decide what I want. But let's follow up. That's not all we can do. We can follow up with, let's say this question here. Maybe we can ask this as a follow-up question. Let's see. How much sun and water do each of these veggies need? Let's click that and see, because it's given us the time of year already. So it tells us that's a good question, Vinny, because it knows me. Sun and water are make or break factors in vegetable gardening, and it gives me some information. So sunlight requirements, full sun versus partial shade. So full sun is 6 to 8 hours a day, and it tells me these are the heat lovers for heavy feeders. Tomatoes, they like 8 hours in the sun. Peppers, cucumbers, zucchini and squash. Melons like the sun. Sweet potatoes, green beans. Now here's what likes partial sun. And see, this information is helpful because I have to figure out where in my yard, if I'm planting somewhere where it gets full sun, then I know what things to plant there that'll do best. Maybe there's an area of my yard that gets partial sun and I can plant some other things there. So the partial sun, lettuce likes 4 to 6, kale likes 4 to 6, carrots 4 to 6. Water requirements, keeping it balanced. They give us a general rule of thumb. Most vegetables need 1 inch to 1.5 inches of water per week. Here's some heavy drinkers though for summer crops. The tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, melons, sweet potatoes, green beans. Then it gets me to the cool season crops. These take moderate to light amounts of water. Lettuce, 1 inch per week. We can get carrots 1 inch per week. Peas an inch per week. Then some bonus tips for me. Mulch everything. Keep the roots cool, saves water, and beats weeds. Straw, pine needles, or wood chips, whatever works for you. Drip irrigation or soaker hoses. Water early in the morning helps to avoid fungus. Container garden, you'll need to water almost daily in the summer. So again, it gives me some ideas of how much sunlight, those types of things do I need. Well, that's great, but now maybe I can have it give me a weekly schedule. Like I could try to remember this, but what if I just wanted it to give me a weekly schedule of how I can take care of this garden? Let's see if it can do that. Let's ask it. Can you give me a simple weekly garden care for South Carolina? Let's say for these vegetables. So it tells me you got it. Let's keep it simple, which is what I want, because I'm starting out as a gardener. I want it simple. And remember, this information, if you didn't want to plant vegetables, you could do the same thing for flowers or shrubs or bushes. It'll give you the same information. So we're going to assume you're growing a mix of spring, summer, and fall vegetables, cool and warm seasons. Weekly garden care routine. And here it goes. Day, Monday, water deeply and check soil moisture. Tuesday, weed patrol and mulch check. Wednesday, fertilize every 2 to 3 weeks depending on the crop. Thursday, pest and disease inspection. And just going back to Wednesday, I can follow up and say, well, which crops need that? Friday, trellis and support maintenance. Saturday, harvest and prune. Chill, plan, and prep for the next week. Then it gives me some daily care snapshots. Keep it tight, 10 to 30 minutes a day. And it's kind of fleshing out what it gave me here on these days. Watering the soil, weeding and mulching. And all of this can be printed out. It can be put into a Word document, into a PDF. Here's some seasonal extras. In the spring, start cool season crops early. Cover beds on cold nights with row covers. Keep an eye on bolting as temps rise. Gives me summer, fall, winter. Quick tools checklist. Here's things I'll need. So this is very thorough in giving me what I need to take care of my new garden that I'm planting. And again, I could just come down here and type in and say, that's great, can you produce that in a Word document I can print? Or can you produce it in a PDF I can print? Or I could print it right from here. But let's go one more. We've got all that done. Let's ask it, for where I live in South Carolina, what are some common pests and how can I keep them away? Because that might be a natural question to ask. So let's check with that. What are some common pests here and how can I control them naturally? Because that would be a natural follow-up question, right, to this garden. So it mentions, you're going to battle bugs, be proactive. You'll see some things in bold. Most common South Carolina garden pets, deal with them naturally. No harsh chemicals. So top pests in South Carolina gardens, aphids. And it tells me what they do. Cluster on stems and undersides of leaves. They suck sap, stunt growth, spread disease. Here's the things they're found on most commonly: lettuce, kale, tomatoes, peppers, cucumber, squash. Natural control: blast them off with a strong water spray. Spray them with neem oil or homemade soap spray. Release ladybugs. They're aphid assassins. That's good to know. Plant marigolds or nasturtiums. I know I'm not pronouncing that right. To lure them away. So aphids, tomato worms, same thing. Cabbage worms and loopers, squash vine borers, stink bugs and leaf-footed bugs, cutworms, spider mites, flea beetles, slugs and snails, and then natural defensive strategies. It tells me what to do. Plant companions like basil, tomato, marigolds, garlic and onions, dill and fennel. And it tells you why to do that. Keep it clean. Why? Encourage predators. How do I do that? Use natural sprays sparingly. And then some quick bug bomb spray, homemade and natural remedies. Look at this. Ingredients: 1 teaspoon mild dish soap, 1 quart water. Optional, add 1 teaspoon vegetable oil, plus a few drops of garlic or peppermint essential oil. Shake and spray the affected plants early in the morning. So that's just fantastic advice just from a simple question, and we could keep going. And if we wanted to use non-natural control methods, we could ask ChatGPT, well, what about some chemical methods? So if we wanted that. So we can just ask these questions and it's going to give us all this information. And we can either just have it here to look at, or like I said, we can get it in a doc and print it out, or a PDF and print it out. But let's say you're already a pretty good gardener. Maybe you're an expert gardener and this is all pretty simple. Well, ChatGPT can be a fantastic garden assistant for somebody just starting or somebody that's an expert. So let's say you're an expert. What's something that you might ask? How about this? Here's a question. You're beyond the basics, so maybe you ask, can you help me plan a companion planting layout for pest control and better yields? So companion planting layout, a little bit of what that talked about, but this will be more in depth. Pairing up plants that support each other, deter pests, boost yields, companion planting layout for natural pest control, better growth and space efficiency. So here's the core principles of companion planting. Pest control, soil health, space optimization, and pollinator attraction. Garden zones, it's going to talk about that. Functional blocks, raised beds, rows, clusters. Zone 1, tomatoes and buddies, the tomato guild. Here's companions to it are basil, marigolds, carrot, garlic, and onions. What it does, basil repels hornworms and improves tomato flavor. Marigolds repel nematodes and aphids. Garlic and onions deter spider mites. Carrots use lower soil space, great under tomatoes. Layout tip, plant the tomatoes 18 to 24 inches apart. Basil and marigolds between tomato plants. Garlic and carrots in front row, lower height. And then it just goes through and does that for all these different vegetables. Herbs, flowers, what herbs and flowers we can use and how. Bonus, companion combos to avoid. Don't plant these together. And it gives you some things to avoid. And then it gives you a little sample 4x8 row of how you could lay this out and you could copy it. So that's excellent. So maybe, again, this is getting a little more in depth. Again, if you're an expert, maybe this is a question that you'd ask. A follow-up question. Can you suggest a seasonal crop rotation plan for maximizing soil health in a raised bed garden? Very specific, something that somebody that knows a lot about gardening might ask. So it's going to talk about that. Why rotate the crops? Let's get straight to the point. Prevents soil-borne diseases, why that matters. It balances nutrients, it controls pests, it improves yield. Crop families, know your players. On nightshades like tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, potatoes, the effect they have on the soil. Crucifers, legumes. I don't even know how to pronounce some of this stuff. Cucurbits, cucumber, squash, melons, pumpkins. Heavy feeders prone to vine borers. So it's breaking this all down for a seasonal crop rotation plan, 4-year cycle for raised beds. And it tells you, year 1, you want to go with your legumes, 2, leafy greens, in bed 2, bed 3, fruit crops, bed 4, roots, and whatever that is, carrots, cabbage, broccoli, and onions. Year 2, it gives you the rotation. Year 3, year 4. Crop suggestions, spring, summer, fall. Pro tips for the raised bed, add compost, use cover crops, mulch. Want a custom garden map? I can tell it, yeah, give me a custom garden map and it'll do that. So you can get an awful lot of information. And it by default is giving me quite a bit because I've told it I like a thorough answer. But you don't need, if you don't want this thorough, you can be specific. You could have asked it, what vegetables can I plant in the spring only? Keep the answer brief. I just want to know a list of the vegetables. And instead of giving you all that other information, it would just give you the list of vegetables. So this is just one example. Can ChatGPT help me plan my garden for wherever I live? Can it help me figure out what to plant, what not to plant, when to plant it, what shade it needs, what shade it doesn't need, all that kind of stuff? Absolutely, it can do that for us. All right. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that example. Again, this channel is to help people that are not tech savvy, that maybe are a little bit older and aren't as comfortable with technology, to see how they can use ChatGPT for everyday practical things like planting a garden. It's spring, it's April. This is the time we're thinking about that. Maybe you want to start for the first time, maybe you're a seasoned gardener, but ChatGPT can be a fantastic garden assistant for you that can help you with all kind of questions and solve problems and help you to have a flourishing, wonderful, healthy garden. Again, I'm Vince. You've been watching AI for Everyone. If you found this useful, please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit that bell button so you get notifications.